what if winning the biggest individual honor in club football actually comes with a prize? Every year, one player stands above the rest in the Champions League final, the man of the match. But ever noticed how for so many of them, things just don't go right the season after? Injuries, loss of form, team struggles, it's almost like a curse. This year, all eyes are on PSG's Desire Doué. Will he be the next victim, or can he break the spell? Let's dive deep into the last 10 years and see if the UEFA Champions League final man of the match curse is real. And what really happened to them the seasons after. We'll go beyond the headlines, talking about injuries, form, and how each player's career was impacted. 2024 Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. Dani Carvajal, one of only 2 players to win the Champions League 6 times. That's more than all clubs, bar his own Madrid and AC Milan. Carvajal took home the Man of the Match award after a sensational performance against the Germans. He was everywhere down that right flank, shutting down attacks and scored the game's opening goal. But just a few months later in October, tragedy struck when he suffered a torn ACL, along with his lateral collateral ligament, and he was ruled out for the rest of the season. Real's defense was never quite the same without him, and the team struggled to find their rhythm in both La Liga and Europe. It was a cruel twist for a player who had just reached the pinnacle of club football. The curse, it seems, doesn't care about experience or legacy. 2023, Rodri. Rodri scored the winner and was man of the match against the Italian giants Inter Milan, etching his name into Champions League history. The next season, City couldn't retain the Champions League, but Rodri himself was not just one of the best midfielders in the world, but arguably the best player in the world. He did pick up a few minor injuries, muscle strains, and a couple of knocks, but nothing that kept him out for long. In fact, City won the EPL again, and Rodri even claimed the Ballon d'Or. However, the worst was yet to come. In September 2024, Rodri tore his ACL, which ended his season prematurely. Without him, City's midfield lost its engine and the team crumbled. They relinquished the EPL title to rivals Liverpool and were disappointing, crashing out in the playoff round in the newly formatted Champions League. It was a stark reminder that even the best can fall victim to fate. 2022 Thibaut Courtois, Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Thibaut Courtois put on a goal-keeping masterclass in the 2022 final, making save after save to deny Liverpool. The next season, however, disaster struck. Courtois suffered a serious knee injury in preseason and missed almost the entire campaign. Real Madrid struggled without him, especially in the Champions League, where they were knocked out by Manchester City. Courtois' injury was a huge blow, and it took him months to recover. The curse had struck again, and it proved even goalkeepers, often the most protected players on the pitch, are not immune to it. 2021 N'Golo Kante, Chelsea versus Manchester City. N'Golo Kante was everywhere in the 2021 final, covering every blade of grass and breaking up play with his relentless energy, and he was rightfully named the man of the match. The next season, however, injuries started to pile up. Kante suffered from hamstring issues and knee injury, and even a bout of COVID-19 that kept him out for weeks. He was in and out of the team, and Chelsea couldn't defend their Champions League title. Kante's form dipped and he was no longer the ever-present force in midfield. The curse seemed to be lurking for him, and he now finds himself playing in Saudi Arabia, a far cry from his Champions League winning days. 2020 Kingsley Coman, Bayern Munich versus PSG. Kingsley Coman scored the winning goal and was named man of the match in the fanless 2020 final, held behind closed doors due to COVID-19 restrictions. In the 2021-22 season, Bayern couldn't repeat their European success and were eliminated in the quarterfinals. Coman's career has never been the same, as he suffered a series of physical setbacks that kept him off the field for more than 100 days. For Coman, the curse was more about the team than a serious individual injury. But you could argue he had avoided the worst. Bayern still won another Bundesliga title. Still, his time as a consistent starter has been interrupted, and he's never quite recaptured that final winning form. 2019, Virgil van Dijk, Liverpool versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Virgil van Dijk was a colossus in defense during the 2019 final. The next season, things improved on the domestic front. Liverpool dominated the Premier League and ended their 30-year domestic league title drought thanks to the Dutchman's efforts. However, the 2020-2021 season saw tragedy for Van Dijk as he suffered a horrific knee injury early on after a challenge from Jordan Pickford in the Merseyside Derby. He tore his ACL and missed most of the campaign, which was a massive blow for Liverpool. The team's defense was never the same without him, and Van Dijk himself had to go through a long and painful rehabilitation. It took him months to get back to full fitness, and while he eventually returned, he wasn't quite the same player at first. The curse had struck even the toughest of characters. 2018, Gareth Bale, Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Gareth Bale's bicycle kick in the 2018 final is one of the greatest goals in Champions League final history. He was rightly named man of the match as his contributions won the match for Real. But things quickly went downhill for the Welshman. The next season, Bale was plagued by injuries, calf problems, muscle strains, and even a persistent ankle issue. He was often left out of the starting lineup, and his relationship with the manager soured. Eventually, he went out on loan to Tottenham, and his time at Real ended on a bitter note. For Bale, the Man of the Match award seemed to mark the beginning of a difficult period, to which he never reached the same heights again. 2017, Cristiano Ronaldo, Real Madrid versus Juventus. Mr. Champions League himself, Cristiano Ronaldo was unstoppable in the 2017 final, scoring 2 goals and taking home the Man of the Match award. The following season, Ronaldo was still at the top of his game and helped Madrid to winning the 3rd UCL in a row, the first time this had happened since the 1970s. He did, however, face a few more injuries than usual. Hamstring issues, minor muscle strains, but he still managed to score 44 goals in all competitions. That summer, he moved to Juventus, and while some thought the curse might follow him, he kept banging in goals and breaking records in Italy. For Ronaldo, the curse was just a story. They can reach the goats, right? 2016, Sergio Ramos, Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. Sergio Ramos scored the opening goal in the final and was the hero for Real Madrid. He was named man of the match, and the next season, Real Madrid did the unthinkable. They won the Champions League again. Ramos was a rock at the back, but wasn't all smooth sailing. He dealt with some minor injuries, calf strains, muscle tightness, but nothing that kept him out for long. His leadership and consistency meant that for him, the so-called curse was just a myth. Ramos continued to be one of the best defenders in the world, proving that sometimes greatness just keeps on rolling. And these curses don't actually exist. So, is the Man of the Match curse real? For some, like Ramos and Ronaldo, it's just another trophy in the cabinet. For others like Bale, Van Dijk, Courtois, and Conte, the following seasons brings challenges, injuries, loss of form, or team struggles. Football is a game of highs and lows. Winning the Champions League and being named man of the match is the ultimate high, but the pressure, the expectations, and the physical toll can all be too much for some, as it's been proven. For some, it's a stepping stone to even greater success. For others, it's the start of a tough journey. Now, let's talk about Désiré Doué. From a relative unknown 12 months ago to lighting up the French league and the knockout stages of the Champions League, Doué has the talent and the spotlight. But does he have the luck to break the curse? PSG fans are hoping he can follow in the footsteps of Ramos and Ronaldo, but history tells us that the odds are stacked against him. The spotlight will be on him next season, and every minor injury or dip in form will be scrutinized. It's worth remembering that football is as much about mentality as it is about skill. The pressure of expectation can weigh heavy, and the physical demands of the modern game are relentless. Maybe the curse is just a story we tell ourselves to make sense of the randomness of sport, or maybe there's something to it. After all, the evidence is hard to ignore. That's the story of the UCL Man of the Match curse. Who do you think is most affected by this so-called curse? Let us know below, and I'll see you next time.